All right, so let's go through question by question. The type of problem that's going to be on the quiz, like I said earlier, may not be the exact problem, but some of them might be the exact problem. So let's see. So the first two, numbers 1 and 2, say this. And I'll tell you exactly what they say. Classify each triangle. So write that down so you know what the instructions are. Classify each triangle by the angle measure and side length. So how many answers are you going to have for numbers 1 and 2? Well, for each one. For number 1 and then also for number 2. Yeah, 2 answers. You're going to have 2 answers. Okay, 1, you're going to tell what the name of this type of triangle is because of the angles, and you're also going to say what kind of triangle it is by its what? By its sides, all right? All right, so let's put a triangle like this, like this. Well, is it a right triangle the way it looks right now? Well, it looks like it, but does that mean it is? Right, you got to put the square. If there was a little square here, now, is that a right triangle? Yeah, okay. So that's classifying it by its what? Look, I even underlined it, all right? Kind of give you an easy way. By its what? By its angle measure, right? By its angle measure. So I put 2 blanks. The first blank, you're going to name it by the angle. And then the second blank, you're going to name it by the what? By the sides, okay? So look at the angles right here. I don't even care what these angles are. I don't even care what the measure of these angles are. This is all I need right there. That's all I need. So if I have one right angle in a triangle, then what kind of a triangle is it? It's a right triangle. All right, so put right. You can put the symbol for triangle like that. Everybody got it? All right. What if I also told you, let's put this in another color. What if I said that this one, it's got 1 tick mark, this one's got 2 tick marks, and this one has 3 tick marks. So what do I know about the lengths? They're all equal? They're all different. Okay. That's what I was hoping you would say. They're all different. So none of the sides are equal to each other, right? Everybody see that? So none of the sides are all different lengths. So what do we call a triangle with all different lengths? It's a weird word. No, what's isosceles? It's scalene. What's isosceles? Isosceles, 2 of the sides, right? So this is a scalene triangle. So write that in there. You could write the word triangle if you wanted to, but put the triangle in there, okay? This is a right triangle. This is a scalene triangle. Everybody good? All right. Let's do, let's grab this. Let's make a triangle out of it. There we go. All right. What if I told you that all 3 of these sides, they all have tick marks, but they all have 1 tick mark. So what's the difference between this? I mean, all this, well, there's no congruency. There's not 2 triangles, okay? They're all equal to each other, which means what? It's equilateral triangle. So equilateral, actually, we got to do the angle first, don't we? Now look, they don't tell you any of the angles. Everybody's listening, right? Ben, do you want to be here for this review? Does it matter to you? Stop doing this, okay? Stop. It gets so old. What? What am I doing? What am I doing? It's so old. I get so sick of seeing that because you've constantly talked the whole entire time and I haven't said a word to you. I was hoping you might just calm down. Do you have any notes in front of you? You're not writing anything down. Maybe you should try that. That would be nice. Okay, maybe that'll keep you from talking so much. But if you keep on talking, I'm going to send you out. This time, I've sent you out in the hallway twice. Third strike, you're going to go to Mr. Sarek. You understand me? All right, so quit being the class clown. Nobody thinks it's funny, all right, especially me. So just take some notes on this and do what you're supposed to. All right, so we got to classify by the angles first. Angles first, then the sides, okay? But they don't tell you any angles here. But they do tell you 3 sides. So it is true that this is equilateral. I'll put that second. Okay, it's an equilateral triangle. But what do I know about the angles? Okay, they're acute. You could say acute. That would be fine. All right? So you could say it's an acute triangle, and that would be good. All right? But there's something else that it is that we haven't talked about a whole lot. We did talk about it once or twice. If all 3 of these sides are equal, what do you think is true about the 3 angles? They're all equal to each other. Okay? So if it's equilateral, it's also equiangular. Okay? So right here, you could say acute or equiangular. You don't have to say them both. All right? You got that? Yeah, so this would be part A, we'll call it. I don't put part A and B on the quiz, but this would be the first thing. Name it by the angles, and this one would be name it by the sides. It's equilateral because all 3 sides are equal. It's equiangular because all 3 angles are equal. Do you remember talking about that? If these 2 angles are equal, then, if these 3 angles, let me try again. If these 3 sides are equal, then the 3 angles are going to be equal to each other, even though they didn't tell you. All right, but you know they are because the 3 sides are equal. All right, let's do another one. You guys mentioned this triangle earlier, so let's do it. You got it. So let's go to here. Let's go to here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so here's what they tell you. They could tell you that these 2 sides are equal to each other. That's all they tell you. They don't say anything about the angles at all. Okay? So again, part A, we want to name them by the angles. Part B, we want to name it by its sides. So let's do the sides first. That's the one that's most obvious. All right? So if 2 sides are equal to each other, what do we call this thing? Isosceles. How do we spell isosceles? C-E-L. C-E-L-E-S. Isosceles. Okay, spell that 4 or 5 times right on your paper, and you'll remember how to spell it. The problem is, I don't think very many people have done that, even though I suggested that you do that. All right. Now, what about the angles? I didn't say anything about the angles, but look at all 3 angles. What do they look like? They look like what? They're all 3 are equal to each other? No, I'm talking about the angles. I'm talking about the angles. This angle, and this angle. They're all acute. That's right. Okay, on this one, they're all acute angles. So what would I say here? I would say an acute triangle. Forgot to put the triangle thing here. Let's do one more like this. Everybody got that written down? So Drew and Ben, you still refuse to get some notes out? I don't know what's so difficult about that. If you look around, I'm looking around, I see every single person with something on their desk except for you 2. Okay, so let's do this one. Now let's move this a little bit like that. There we go. I'll tell you what, I'm going to angle it a little bit more. There we go. All right, so what if we had a triangle that looked like this? And I marked a couple things. I said that this was equal to this. That's all I told you about this. What's that? It's acute? What does this angle look like? Yeah, this is an obtuse angle. So again, part A, we're classifying it by the angle. So even though these are acute, does that mean that it's an acute triangle just because these two are acute? No. You got to look at the third one. What's the third one? It's obtuse, okay? So that would be an obtuse triangle. Again, we're classifying it by its angles. We're looking at the angles. Now, let's look at the sides. What do I know about the sides? They're all different. I got one tick mark here and one tick mark here, and you're saying they're all different? It's isosceles, not because they're all different, because they're what? That's right, two sides are equal to each other. All right, so this side and this side are equal. We call that an isosceles triangle. All right, so you can have an isosceles right triangle. You could have an isosceles acute triangle. You could have an isosceles obtuse triangle, okay? Just got to look to see what the angles are. Everybody good with that? All right, let's do another one. Now we're going to do one where you got to do a little math. But you're going to have to know, by the way, if, let's call this ABC. Now I know this is obtuse and these are acute, but I can tell you something even more specific about this. If it's an isosceles triangle and these two sides are equal, what do I know about A and B, angle A and angle B? They're what? They're equal to each other. That's right, because when I have an isosceles triangle, if I have two sides of a triangle equal, then the angles that are opposite those two sides, they are also equal to each other. So that means that this angle is opposite this side, this angle B is opposite this side, so they would be equal to each other. All right, we're going to use that in the next example. Okay. All right, let's draw this. And go to there. I'm going to go to there. It's pretty close. Not exactly, but it's pretty close. All right, so I've got A, B, C, and D. All right. Here's what they tell you. They tell you that this down here is, I don't know, let's make it 60 degrees. No, let's not do that. Let's make it 70 degrees. All right, we'll make this 70 degrees. It's not exactly drawn exactly 70, but it's close enough. All right, and what you want to do is you want to find these two angles. You want to find angle A, and you want to find angle ACD, which is this one right there. All right, Sincere, what do you think? Let's do A first. So what can you do to find angle A? Add 70 to 70, which is 140. Well, 140 from 180. Right, take the smaller one from the bigger one, but I know what you're saying. All right, so that would be 40. So this angle right here, that's one of your answers. That would be what? 40 degrees. What about this angle right here? You could do it a couple ways, and you should get the same answer. I'll do it both ways just to show you. What are you thinking, Zion? Yeah, you could. See, this is an exterior angle. Remember that? These are remote interior angles. So you could just add what? 70 and 40, and you get 110. Or you could do it another way. What's another way you could find this? Let's say we didn't know any of these things. That's it. You could go 180 minus 70, right? And that still gives you what? 110. Either way you do it, this is 110. Make sense? It's not too hard, is it? You'll have something very similar to this on the test. The numbers will be different. Okay, so don't just memorize these answers, 40 and 110. because you won't get it right because the numbers are going to be different. But the problem will be pretty much the same. All right. So now the rest of the quiz, what have we been doing the last like 3 lessons? We've been doing what? What kind of triangles? You said it earlier, Lonnie. Congruent triangles, that's right. Okay, so we're going to do congruent triangles now. So that was number 4. Well, 3 and 4. All right, so one of these right here was number 3. And this angle right here was number 4. All right, so it's almost half the quiz. So let's do another. Let me just grab a triangle from over here. Let's grab this one. Just make it a little bit bigger. All right, here's a triangle. Copy and paste. Now watch very carefully what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to flip it vertically. See what I did? I went like this, boom, like that. And now what am I going to do? I'm going to flip it horizontally as well. There we go. All right. And we call it whatever we want to call it. I don't care what we call it. A, B, C, D, E, F. Oops. D. Let's make that look nicer. D, E, and F. All right. Now, they got to tell you some stuff. If they didn't tell you anything, there's no way you could tell if they're congruent or not. All right. But here's what they tell you. They tell you that this side is equal to this side. And they tell you that this angle is equal to this angle. And they also tell you that this side is equal to this side. All right, Sincere, tell me. All right, let's do the first part first, okay? So let me write the instructions down. I'm not going to write it all down. I'm going to write the 2 main things. Again, on this one, you got to get both of them right. Just like on number 1 and 2, you had to get both of them right to get the question right. On this one, you got to name 2 things. All right, so what they say is write a valid, oops, let's put this in white. Write a valid congruence statement. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to write, statement. And we'll call that part A. And then you're going to write a reason. Okay, you're going to name the postulate. We'll just say that. That's what I put in the quiz. Name the postulate that justifies that these are congruent. All right, so there's 2 parts to this. All right, Sincere, what was the first thing you said? You said side angle side, didn't you? Okay, so that's the postulate. So I give you 2 blanks. Tell you what, let's just move this over here, get it out of the way. I didn't label it A and B. Probably should have, but I didn't. But I just put 2 blanks there, okay, so you can put the answer in. So the postulate is going to go in the second blank. Everybody got that? Because this is the first thing, that's the second thing. So what is the postulate? Side, angle, side. And what do you have over here? You got a side, you got an angle, and you got a side. All right? So that's going to go right here. So we'll just say side, angle, side. You can write postulate if you wanted to. You can write theorem if you wanted to. Well, in this one, it is a postulate. But just side, angle, side is very good. Okay, SAS. You write that, you got half of it right. But now you got to write a congruent statement. All right? So this triangle is congruent to this triangle. Now you got to be very careful with this. Sincere, what do you want to call this triangle right here? BAC? Okay. So we'll call it BAC. Here's what we've been doing, really, the last couple days. Remember I said there's a little trick to figure out which one goes with what? So which one goes with B? C does not go with B. Over on the other triangle. B and E, right, because this has one arc, that's got one arc. So the E's got to go together. Okay, what about the A? How do you know which one it goes with? It's opposite two tick marks, okay? What's opposite two tick marks here? The F, so the F has to go second. And then obviously there's only one other choice. What's the only other choice? That's D. And if you want to look at it to see if it still works, look, C is opposite the one tick mark, D is opposite the one tick mark. So yeah, it does work. Okay? Make sure you use that little trick that I gave you because that'll help you make sure you put it. Now when it says a valid congruent statement, what if I would have put FED? That would have been wrong, wouldn't it? If I would put EFD or EDF or DEF, or no, EFD is fine. But if I put DEF, that would have been wrong. Okay, that's not valid. It is a congruent statement, but it's not one that's valid. Okay, all the corresponding parts have to match up. Good with that? Okay, because if you just look at this, I don't know, this one maybe not so much, but there's some, like this angle and this angle might be really, really close to each other, and you don't know if you use the D or the E. So always look to see what it's opposite. All right, that's really helpful there. All right, let's do another one. All right, this one's a little different. I mean, they have a lot of similarities. So this one, let's do this. Tilt it a little bit more. There we go. And this goes like this. And then this one goes like, come on, there we go. And then this one goes like this. It's not too good. Let's take it to about right here. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so there's our picture. Let's put some letters in here. W, X, Y, Z. All right, and they tell you a couple things. Here's what they tell you. They tell you that this angle right here is equal to this angle right here, and they tell you that this one is equal to this one. And that's it. That's all they tell you. So you got to figure out, are they congruent to each other? If they are, what's the postulate or theorem that allows them to be congruent? And then tell me my congruent statement. Let's do the second part first. Let's do the justify the reason, okay, why they're congruent to each other. So what do we got? I got an angle and an angle. I got another angle and another angle. But I need more than that, don't I? I need a side, at least a side. Where do I get that side? These triangles are connected, aren't they? Okay. What do they have in common? What do they both have in common? Give me letters. Is it X and Y? It's line segment, what? Line segment XY, or WY, I'm sorry, I said X, sorry about that. It's line segment WY. They have that in common. Look at this triangle here on the left. It's got WY as part of the triangle, doesn't it? This one right here has got WY as part of the triangle, all right? So what can we do here? WY is equal on this triangle, and it's equal on this. They didn't tell you that. That's something that you needed to figure out on your own. Everybody got that? Okay, we've done that before, right? It's not new. So now, tell me why these triangles are congruent to each other. It's angle, side, angle, right? So, again, on the quiz, I don't put A and B, but I will put lines. The first line is for the congruent statement. The second line is for the reason, okay? So what is this? Angle, side, angle. So that's what we put right here. That's usually the easiest part of these. Now the congruent statement, let's do that. Triangle, what do you want to call this one? W's, well, you can't just say WZ. It's a triangle. Okay, WZY. Yeah, my hearing's not always the best anymore, especially with this cold I got. All right, now, here's the hard part. This part is probably the hardest part of this whole problem. If I go W, what am I going to do for W on this triangle? So it's got one arc. Which one has one arc down here? The Y, right. The Y is the vertex to that angle. So I'm going to put Y. And then the Z. Z is this one right here. Z is opposite that one tick mark. What's opposite the one tick mark over here? The X. All right. And then the next one's pretty basic because you just put in the other letter. It's not Z. Wait a minute. It's W, right? Because that's the last one. All right. So on this triangle right here, I already got a Y, I already got an X. What's the only one left? W. And that's how we do that. We good? All right. All right, so we got 3 of those. All right, these types, I did 2 of them, but there's 3 of them on the quiz. I'll just leave it at 2. So 5, 6, and 7, numbers 5 through 7 are these kind of problems. Okay? I only did 2 of them, but I don't have to show you every single one. All right, now you got 3 left, 8, 9, and 10, and they're all the same kind of problem. It's really close to what we just did, all right, but this is the one where it says, state what additional information is required in order to know the triangles are congruent for the reason given. All right. So watch very carefully on this because a lot of students mess up on this one. So I don't want you to be one of the ones that mess it up. I want you to get it. All right, there's my 2 triangles. A, B, C, D. And here's what they tell you. They give you that this little angle right here is equal to this angle right here. Okay? Now, here's what they give you some... Excuse me, I'm sorry. Here's what they tell you. They say, I want to show that these triangles are congruent by angle side angle. That's what I want to use. Okay, I want to show that these 2 triangles are congruent by angle side angle. Now, they have not given you enough information. Okay, they didn't give you the other angle. They didn't give you the other side. But you got to figure out what must be equal to each other in order to make these triangles congruent because of angle side angle. Well, what do we know right off the bat already? Go ahead, Zion. BD, line segments, not a line. It's a line segment, BD. We know that right off the bat, BD is equal on this triangle and this triangle, right? We did that one just earlier. All right, everybody should see that. Now, what else do we need to know? Now, they didn't tell us. We can't really figure it out, but just like if this other thing was equal, then these 2 triangles would be congruent. Sincere? Oh, sorry, Abdul, sorry. I was saying sincere a lot earlier. So. What other angle? A what? AC is not an angle. Yeah, but if I made this angle, watch, don't write this down because this is not correct. Okay? Well, yeah, this is not correct. So don't write this down, all right? What if I said, okay, what if angle A was equal to angle C? Would these triangles be congruent because of angle side angle? No, because the side is not in between the 2 angles, is it? Okay, I would have to know that this one was equal to this one, correct? So what is this angle? This angle right here. Somebody name that angle for me. AB, that's that angle? Come on. We've been doing this all year, naming angles. What do I call this angle? You got to have 3. You got to have 3 points, and B's got to be the vertex. So you start at A, this angle right here. ABC is this angle? No, this doesn't go to C, A, B. Where does it end? It ends right here, right? So it starts here, goes to here, then it goes like this. So what's the name of that angle? ABD. You guys are scaring me. It's not C. This angle right here does not go, if it was ABC, it would be this whole angle right there. That would be angle ABC. That's not the angle I'm talking about. I'm talking about this angle. This is ABD. Now, you don't have to know that for the quiz, but it's just making me a little nervous that you didn't know how to name an angle. All right, what if I wanted to name this angle right here? CBD, very good. All right, or you could go DBC, right? But the B's got to be in the middle. Then you got to use these two on the ends. So this goes C, B, and D. Everybody got it? All right, so now, why are these triangles congruent to each other? Angle, side, angle. And actually, what I said earlier about not having to know how to name that angle, that's actually incorrect. So what would my, what is the thing that I had to put in there? I already knew that this, BD was equal to BD, right? But what was the thing that I had to say, how would I say this? What additional information, other than what they give you, would we have to know in order for these triangles to be congruent? This is the additional information, that this is equal to this. This right here is really not additional information. That's information they already gave you, right? It's already on the picture. Everybody see that? So what's the additional information? That what? Angle, what was this angle? ABD is equal to angle what? This one right here. What are you going to call that one? Okay, CBD, good. So this right here is your answer. Okay, so if you knew that these two angles were equal, then these triangles would be congruent because of angle, side, angle. That? Yeah, well, actually with angles, I'm okay if you just put equals. Triangles, I always want to put congruent. But you're right, you could put a congruent there. I think the books probably do that. All right, let's do another one of these. Because these are a little bit trickier to figure out. So let's try this one. This one goes like this. Oh, come on. This one goes like this. Scooch it in a little bit. It's good enough. Let's have this come down right there. I'm being way too picky here, but that's how I am sometimes. This doesn't look that good, but that's okay. It's really not okay, but let's see how would I... Yeah, it's good enough. All right. These triangles are supposed to look congruent to each other. Do they look congruent? Not really, okay? But they're supposed to be. If you see it on the quiz, they'll look congruent, all right? So I just kind of messed up drawing this thing. But it doesn't matter if it looks congruent or not, because we can only go by the information that they give us, all right? All right, here's some stuff that they tell you. Let's see. They tell you that this side is equal to this side right here. And that's it. That's all they tell you. And you want to show, yes, sir. No, not yet. You want to show that these triangles are congruent because you don't know the answer because you don't know the reason why they're congruent to each other. So you can't give me an answer yet. You want to show that these triangles are congruent because of side angle side. Okay? Now you can look at it and maybe come up with an answer. First thing we're going to do, is there anything on this picture that I already know is equal to each other? Line segment M and N, that doesn't mean anything. A line segment's got to have 2 points. So line segment MN and LP, is that what you're saying? LMP? LMP? That means nothing. LMP is nothing. It's not an angle, it's not a line segment, it's not a triangle, it's nothing. Vertical angles, that's what I'm looking for. You got vertical angles here. All right, Donnell, let's see if you really know this. What do I name that angle? This first angle right here, what would I name it? Would I? No. This angle right here. Look, MKP would go from here to here to here. Is that where this angle goes? It's MKL. Watch. It goes from here. Look. Everybody looking at this angle right here? What does it touch? It touches this line and this line. Shh. Listen. So it goes from M to K to what? To L. You see it? M, K, L. It's not MKP. MKP would be this angle right here. I'm talking about this one. This is MKL. All right? What about this one? PKN. All right. Now, that's already given to us, basically, right? It's already vertical angles. We know they're vertical angles. What's one more thing that we got to figure out that we don't know? But if these are going to be congruent because of side angle side, I already got a side, right, equal to a side. I already got an angle equal to another angle. Where's that third side going to be? L what? It's a side. You can't just use one letter for a side. Line segment what? L what? P? LK, that's right. Look, this is a side. LP is not a side of any of these triangles. You see it? So what's a side of this triangle right here? It's from here to here. Okay? Oops. Oh, what's going on here? So look. So if LK was equal to what? Where's my side angle side here? There's my side. There's my angle. Where's my other side? Right there. What side is that? KN. Or you could go NK. It doesn't make any difference. So we've kind of come up with the answer. We just got to write it down now. So what two sides should you have shown to make these triangles congruent because of side angle side? What? This one and this one. So what is this line segment? Okay, it's a line segment. So what do? Put a little line segment over top. Congruent to, what's this one? If I go L to K, how should you do this one? N to K. So this would be your answer. All right? Let's do one more and we'll quit. I don't know if my throat is going to hold out all day. It's probably not. So I might just show this video to the next class instead of teaching it again. All right, got one more. Don't lose me now. I can tell you're going somewhere else. You're writing this down? It's a lot of talking. You should be writing this. All right, you got another one where it shares a side. So you know right off the bat that this is going to be equal to itself. So you know you're going to do that. So let's put some letters in here. This is W, X. This is Y over here. This is Z right there. And they tell you that this side is equal to this side. Okay? And what you want to do is you want to show that these triangles are congruent because of side, side, side. Now that's important. This is what they tell you in the problem, okay? They put side, side, side. So what do we know right off the bat? I talked about it just a second ago. What side do you know that's equal right off the bat, that you absolutely know is equal to each other? The X, Y, that's right. So I can put a 1 tick mark. This pen would work. Put a 1 tick mark right there, okay? Now, in order to make them, this is the key to this problem, in order to make them congruent to each other, what's another side that has to be equal to each other? Zx, this one right here, and what? Wy, right there, okay? And that's it, you're right. So it doesn't matter what order you put it in. We'll go Wy. Keep pushing this button on this pen. I wish they wouldn't put this button on here. I know why they put it on there, but for me, it doesn't help. And then what? Zx. And that is your answer right there. That's your answer. But you should mark this stuff on the quiz, okay? You're allowed to write on the quiz, obviously. So mark the stuff. And then look, these are congruent because of side, side, side. All right, and that's what they wanted you to do. All right? So we didn't know just by looking at the picture that Wy and Xz were equal to each other. All right, but it says, what's some additional information? What else must be true in order to make them congruent? Well, this one and this one have to be equal to each other, congruent to each other. All right, enough of that. My throat is wearing out. And all right, so that's it. You got a quiz. What's that? 8, 9, and 10. All right, that's all I got.